Yuki and John's Patriot of Birth.
Yuki!
John!
What was the last big idea that you had? A big idea that you said, the world's gonna change with this idea.
When I was a kid, like a really kid, like in Tokyo, there's a tallest building in the first time in Tokyo. I think 36th floor. And then, I always liked the movie. And then I said, holy shit, the 36th floor is tall. Back then, 36 was tallest. Today, maybe nothing.
Yeah.
But back then, I said, gee, what if this building got burned and then make the movie? The couple of years later, Towering Inferno came out.
Oh, so you thought of the idea for
I
Towering...
thought about, burning building and then people are trapped. But,
so
of
they
course, I
stole
was...
your idea?
Well, I wouldn't say that, but...
No, you should sue Towering Inferno. Who wrote that movie? They knew you.
No.
Yeah.
Towering Inferno came from two books. I think
it did?
one is Glass Inferno.
Uh-huh.
The other one was Glass Tower. And then those two books are similar, so they combined it and made it one movie.
Whoa. So okay.
So, it's possible. What
So it's
about
possible.
these two novelists write the same story?
Same thing, and they wrote the same story, and then you had the same story before you even heard about their
Right.
stories.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's not I just thought, maybe
The
burning
concept.
building, then make a movie. I just thought about it. That
Whoa.
was it. I mean,
you
I
could
was
have
a
been
kid.
a millionaire.
Well, if I wrote the screenplay, but I didn't. I was just a kid, just thought about it. That's,
Well, okay, so this is our topic for today,
yes.
is an idea called simultaneous creation.
Uh-huh.
Now, simultaneous creation is basically what you just described. Yuki Nakamura, little boy, he's in Japan. He looks up, he sees a building, and he says, hey, wouldn't it be cool to make a movie about a burning building?
Right.
Across the pond in America or wherever, maybe Britain, who knows where these writers are from, they at the same time were writing their books
Right.
separate from each other and separate
Right.
from you about the same topic.
Right.
And those topics were so similar that they used those two books to make the movie Towering Inferno,
Right.
which you would have thought of as well.
Yes.
So all those things happened simultaneously, independent of each other,
Right.
and then came together, and it became a movie.
Right.
Plus books, plus this.
Right.
So there's a concept, simultaneous creation, where you could be in Japan, America, wherever,
Right.
and all think of the same thing at once.
Right.
And it just depends on whether you act on that idea
Right.
or how you make that idea.
Right.
You can make that idea a screenplay. You can make that idea a book, a song.
Right.
But it's all about the creation
Right.
and how you make that idea a reality.
Right.
Where you failed was that you didn't write the movie immediately.
Well, I was a kid, so
Smart kid.
But I didn't do anything. I just thought about
You
it.
could have been the youngest screenwriter of all time.
Oh.
Have you ever had any other ideas that were like that, where you said, I thought of that, and it happened at the or something that you were working on? Because I have a bunch that happened where
Yeah, because you write the script, so I don't write the script,
Yeah.
so
Well, so here's the big one, and this is something where I don't know. I don't care. This is just the way it happened. I was working on a thing called Amityville in Space.
Okay.
It was going to be a movie. I was working with a few people. I was working with a concept artist. I was working with Dylan Mars Greenberg, who's a great independent New York artist that I met through Trauma, who's a director, as a special effects, producer, camera, all that stuff. And we were actively working on Amityville in Space. We had concept art, we had a story treatment, a whole thing, and we were going to do a lot of it based on improv and things like that, but set up the things where we knew that the scene was ready. We would have the actors do some rehearsals or stuff like that, and then write the scene, the dialogue through the actors. And we, on the day that we had our first real production meeting, we had been developing it before. We were about to start doing the production. Guess what trailer came out? a movie called Amityville in Space that was
Wow.
already in production that had a trailer.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Somebody beat you, huh?
Well, they beat me to it. But in the moment, I thought that my idea had been stolen because I spoke to somebody and pitched the idea for Amityville in Space to somebody who worked closely with that director who made Amityville in
that's
Space.
possible. Then maybe.
Well,
they
no,
stole
then it came to be that the person that I pitched it to was the rival of the person who ended up financing Amityville in Space. So I was incorrect about my idea being stolen, but it was a case of simultaneous creation. And it's not that hard of a thing to say.
Right.
There's all these stupid Amityville knockoffs. Everybody's making Amityville up your ass or whatever. And the logical conclusion, in my mind, is to bring the fucking thing to space. You had to have the house in space, like a spaceship, and it's flying around.
I think it's possible. I mean, we have this so many people, and then, you know, so many ideas. If 2, 3, 4, 5 are similar, it's possible.
It's totally possible.
Yeah.
So we were mentioning off mic, there's a lot of times in Hollywood where that happens.
Right.
You had Dante's Peak and Volcano.
Yeah.
Right? Dante's Peak was with Pierce Brosnan, and Volcano was with
Tommy Lee Jones
and Anne Heche.
Right.
And those movies were pretty similar.
Right.
Right? Both about a crazy volcano that goes nuts and people have to survive.
Right.
The other one was Armageddon
and then Deep Impact. That's like the same thing.
They're pretty much the same thing, right? Although I like Armageddon just a little bit better because it's more camp. There's this thing online that people say, why would they hire the people who dig, right? What are they called? The
driller?
The drillers.
Yeah.
Why would they hire drillers and teach them how to be astronauts? Why wouldn't they do it the other way around? Why wouldn't they teach the astronauts how to drill?
But they couldn't do driller. That's like the Bruce Willis character saying, you know, this guy is a Boy Scout. You don't know how to drill.
Right.
You have to send us. Or, you know, because...
Right. So it was easier to teach those guys how to be in space, the drillers, than it was to teach the astronauts, who are some of the smartest people on Earth, how to drill.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what the Keith David, the general, is saying. You know, I don't trust these guys. You know, I trust the potato gun or something like that.
Oh, man. But, okay, so in that case, that was simultaneous creation.
Right.
And who knows, though, it might have been a thing where one studio heard thing, and then they had competing scripts that were similar or whatever. But it's
who
all
knows? Right.
Who knows where could these ideas come from and how they spring up all at the same time to pop out.
And then White House down, and then
oh yeah, Olympus Has Fallen.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Those were very similar, and those came out around the same time, developed the same way. Yeah, that's very strange. So I don't know. I've had that happen to me a few times in my life where I was thinking about something. The very first time this ever happened to me, this simultaneous creation thing, was I was a big fan when I was in high school of the Naked Gun airplane type movies, spoofs.
Right.
And I wanted to write one of my own. And it was in high school is when I first started to try to write screenplays and stuff like that. They were horrible, but I would write them in notebooks. And I would do it all longhand, and I would write scripts. The very first script I ever wrote was called The Great Sex Toy Adventure, about a young man who goes into the Manhattan to buy a sex toy for his girlfriend for her birthday. That was the first script I ever wrote, and it was like Clerks or something, where everybody's talking and walking, but it's all about them going on an adventure to get a sex toy for their girlfriend. Horrible. It was a horrible fucking thing that I did there. But so then I started to think about higher concepts, and the one that I thought about for a spoof, remember Passenger 57 with Wesley Snipes?
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to do a spoof called Customer 57, where somebody was the 57th customer at a bank or something, and then they get into a terrorist plot, but it's all Naked Gun jokes.
Oh.
Horrible idea, too! But... So then I was sitting there, And I get to a movie theater one day, and I see the lobby card for Spy Hard.
Oh.
Spy Hard. And the title, I didn't even see the movie. Later on, I saw the movie. It was nowhere near what my idea was, really, except for the fact that it was a play on the action movie title Die Hard.
Right.
And mine was a play on the action movie title Passenger 57.
Right.
So Customer 57, Spy Hard, I gave up. Because of simultaneous creation. They created that title.
Right.
I created that title. I said they beat me to it. But then later on I saw it. It was more of a spoof on James Bond than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is possible, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's, not, well, some people really steal it, but not every case.
Well, how often do you think people actually steal things? I think a lot. I think
stealing is happen a lot.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, this industry, it's big, but it's small. So if someone write the script and then here, this is my idea. I mean, those untouched script go around everywhere.
Circles. Even if you think that your script hasn't been seen, it's probably been seen if you've gotten it to the right people.
Right.
It's seen by a lot of people, and they say, "Oh, that's a great concept. Let's take."
Yeah, I mean that happens. Then, if you steal just the idea or concept, you can't really sue them. I mean, just hey, happen to be same idea.
Right, because they change it enough to just make it.
Change enough. So
yeah, it's hard. So I was the movie Blue Collar.
Yeah.
I watched that the other day. It's got Harvey Keitel, Richard Pryor, Yaphet Kotto, the guy from, and it's written by Paul Schrader, written and directed by Paul Schrader. His first movie after Taxi Driver that he directed.
Right. No, Taxi Driver, Scorsese.
Well, he wrote. Sorry, so he wrote Taxi Driver, and then after Taxi Driver, he directed and wrote Blue Collar because Taxi Driver was a success. That in the trivia for that movie, it says some person came to Paul Schrader with an idea, and you tell me what you think about this. They said to Paul Schrader, "I want to make a movie about the car industry, about my grandfather who worked in the car industry his whole life." And ended up killing himself. Paul Schrader said, that's not really something that I would do. What I would do is make a movie about guys who are in the car industry in the union, and they steal a bunch of money from the union and get into hot water. The guy who came to him with the original idea said, that's not what I want to do with my project. They went their separate ways. Amen. Paul Schrader called up his brother and said, hey, this guy just pitched me an idea, and I pitched him a better idea. Let's write it. Okay? So, the guy who came with the initial idea about his grandfather, he was never going to make the kind of movie that Paul Schrader made, right?
Right.
But Paul Schrader was inspired by his idea to make his own thing.
Right.
Guess what? The guy came back many years later trying to get credit as a source material for Blue Collar. What do you think? Do you think the guy was justified in trying to get that credit, or you think Paul Schrader took that seed idea and made something different?
I think guy cannot do anything.
You don't think he deserves any money or anything,
no.
right? I'm with you because it's different enough.
Right.
The original guy was never, ever, ever going to make the movie that Paul Schrader ended up making. He wanted to make a different movie about his grandfather.
It's already different.
So. It's already different, but Paul Schrader is a writer, and he was inspired by something, the car industry. But he came up with a wholly different story. Right? So I think that there are times in our lives, especially as writers or artists, when we're dealing with real-life situations, people, places, whatever, and we get inspired. But at the same time that you're with somebody, they could be getting inspired by the same thing. But whatever art or something that comes out of that will be so different because each individual person is a different person and a different artist and a different creator, right? So it's weird. It's like if you and I experience, I don't know, say a car wreck, and then we want to tell the story of that car wreck. Even us just telling the story would be completely different.
Right.
But it's the same source material. Right? So what do you think in those situations? Do you think sometimes it's justified to give the people the money and things like that? You know, if they sue for like a big idea, everybody, when The Matrix came out, everybody, I wrote The Matrix, you know.
Right.
Do you think some people deserve that money?
I think it's from the beginning, like, oh, you know, it's a deal making thing. Like, you originally, okay, it's not really my story, but idea is mine. So, you know, if he was part of the project, then okay.
Okay, so if he was in the project to begin with, and then he branches off and goes and does his own story based on that project,
Right.
then he was wrong. He shouldn't.
Right.
Have that.
He shouldn't have that. He should stay, you know, work together.
Right.
Then if Schrader wanted to go different way, oh, fuck you, I'm leaving. No, you have to stay with it.
Yeah.
And then,
See
you know,
it to the
attach to... that's his mistake. I mean, the moment you say, fuck you, then walk out, then the project is Schrader's, then...
He can do what he wants.
Whole thing is his story anyway.
Yeah.
So, well, original concept was mine. It's too late, because if it's totally different story, Paul Schrader says, my story is nothing to do with his idea.
Yeah.
And done. So he can win.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it said in the trivia. Who knows? Maybe in real life he really did give him more details, and Schrader said, oh, I'm inspired, and did it. Who knows? Who knows? What about stuff like, you saw that recently there was the Ed Sheeran, what's his name, Marvin Gaye lawsuit. Did you hear about that?
No, what happened?
Okay, so Ed Sheeran has this horrible song called "We Found Love." It's like, we found love right where we are. It's horrible. But the chord progression in it is very, very similar to other songs, especially "Let's Get It On" by Marvin Gaye. Now you know that song, right?
I mean,
I've been really trying, baby, to hold back this feeling for so long. Let's get it on.
I don't know.
You never made love to "Let's Get It On"? I mean, never listened to "Let's Get It On"?
I have probably, but
You have. You know "Let's Get It On." All right, so the chord progression is similar, but the songs aren't that similar. I mean, you know, whatever. In my opinion, I don't think Ed Sheeran knowingly copied "Let's Get It On." It might have been in his subconscious or something. But I feel, as somebody who's written songs and stuff, you can use a feeling, but if you copy it wholesale, the exact melody, the exact everything, then you're wrong. But if you use a feeling, similarly with Marvin Gaye's estates, they're very litigious right now. They sued Robin Thicke and Farrell for that song "Blurred Lines." You know the song "Blurred Lines"? You don't like popular music,
no,
but there was a song.
Okay.
It was a few years ago. It's "Blurred Lines," and it has a very similar groove to the song "Gotta Give It Up" by Marvin Gaye.
Okay.
They won and beat the song "Blurred Lines." They were found guilty of copying "Gotta Give It Up," but they were found guilty of copying a feeling. How do you copy a feeling or a groove in music?
It's a feeling. You can copy feeling.
Yeah, but especially because the melody's not really the same. What's the same in there is the beat. It's like ding, 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 ding. You know, it's just the groove. So I think that's really dangerous. On the other side, Ed Sheeran won. He was found not guilty of copying "Let's Get It On" because he got up in court and he brought his guitar and he played a bunch of songs that were very similar, but were obviously different. The first time I ever heard that cock-sucking motherfucking song, which I hate because it plays at weddings and all kinds of shit, and it's a horrible fucking song, but I thought it sounded like "Crazy Love" by Van Morrison. You ever hear "Crazy Love" by Van Morrison? You don't know music, Yuki.
I don't know.
All right, we'll talk about movies. Do you ever hear of a movie that people said was stolen from anybody else? What's the big idea that was stolen, supposedly?
Well, I don't know if it's true or not, but those Avatar thing.
Oh, Avatar was supposedly stolen?
It's a Russian science fiction, and then it even the planet name is Novi.
You're kidding me.
Yeah.
There's a Russian science fiction movie that was based...
Not a movie, novel.
A novel? Oh, shit.
So, we don't know, but, the Cameron maybe paid them. I mean...
Whoa. But why wouldn't he just pay them and use... and say inspired by the book or something?
Well, see, again, I don't know the true story, because if he had an idea, then the book exists. But the question is, nobody knows. Did he read the novel?
Right.
He didn't read it. I mean, see that part, like nobody knows.
Nobody knows, yeah.
So that's difficult to argue. So, but the rumor was, Russian science fiction.
Well, because I know people say it's very similar to Dances with Wolves, but it's science fiction.
Right.
But nobody ever sued.
Right.
But so there was a Russian novel. That's crazy. There's for The Lion King. The Lion King.
Japanese.
There's a Japanese thing. The Simba the White Lion.
Yeah, Simba the White Lion.
If you look into it, they fucking stole that story.
Well,
Disney stole it.
Rumor is Disney paid them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Because the guy who wrote the White Lion is Osamu Tezuka. He's very well known, like Astro Boy.
Yeah. Okay, Astro Boy.
Kubrick asked him to be an art director for 2001.
Oh.
So he was that good, but he had his own animation studio. So he told Kubrick, like, well, I have 100 people staff to feed, so I can't leave do one movie. So he turned it down, but Kubrick originally wanted him to be an art director.
Holy shit.
So the rumor is Disney paid him.
Paid him under the table and said, hey, just keep
yeah.
it quiet. Wow.
So,
I mean, that just goes to show that if you have money, you could do whatever the fuck you want, right? I wish I had money, Yuki.
I know.
I know, right?
But see, so again, like, okay, the My Fair Lady is a remake of Frankenstein. Somebody said that. Well, it's the same concept, The scientist create the Frankenstein. This professor create, this
Holy
lady.
shit, you're kind of right. I mean, yeah, he transforms something.
This homeless girl.
Into a lady.
Yeah.
Whoa! So it's a remake of Frankenstein.
Yeah. See, so, but I mean, it's not the stealing guy. It's just the kind of same things, but it just happened that way.
Inspiration.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's things. I feel like homage, inspiration, plagiarism. There's a very fine line between all of them.
Right.
Some people would say. So I was watching this movie with Walter Matthau called Charlie Varick.
Yes.
There are direct lines that are in Pulp Fiction from this movie.
Right.
He says something about, I'm going to get a bunch of guys to go to work on this motherfucker with the pliers and a blowtorch. That exact line is in Pulp Fiction.
Oh.
So some people might say, is that homage? Is that stealing?
Well, see, that Tarantino used lots of from other movies.
Yeah,
and then he combined.
Pastiche. Yeah.
Yeah, like the Pulp Fiction, the dancing scene at the...
Yeah.
That's the same scene from 8.5 from Fellini movie.
Yeah.
Even
the bat dance.
Yeah. So, but I mean, nobody says he stole. I mean, he may steal from this piece, that piece from the other movie.
Yeah.
But, nobody accusing him he stole it because he didn't steal the whole movie or whole idea.
Right. It's just small
portion
callbacks or something like that. Yeah. You ever see the documentary by Orson Welles, F for Fake?
Oh.
You ever see it?
Yeah.
It's very cool.
Cool, yeah.
It's really cool. I recommend anybody who hasn't seen this movie, go check it out. It's on the Criterion Channel for sure. So, not to give too much away about it, but there's a section in there about forgeries of actual art. Say, let's just, for example, because I don't remember the art that he's talking about in the movie, but the Mona Lisa.
Right.
Okay? Say that somebody makes a forgery of the Mona Lisa and pawns it off as the real thing because it's so close that nobody knows whether the real Mona Lisa is the real one or this guy's fake is the real one. That's sort of what the movie's about. He met this artist who was great at forging art. What do you think are those forgeries as, I don't know, special in an artistic way, or are they just stealing? Is that just theft? Because, in my opinion, if somebody could make a perfect reproduction of the Mona Lisa, they are an artist.
Right, in a way, that's the, different kind of art. But if the fake is as good as the real one, that's some kind of art.
That's art, right?
Yeah.
Because, and again, that's not, the Mona Lisa isn't in this movie. It's just sort of based on the concept of that for fake. But yeah, I think if anybody can forge, which is what they say, it's a forgery, as long as they don't really pretend that it's the actual Mona Lisa, and they say this is a copy or a replication or something, they should be allowed to sell that, take the credit for it, become an artist, and other things. People might hire them for things. But as soon as you cross the line and say it's the real thing, you're fucked up.
I think it should be like if fake is that good, they should be that way instead of lying and this is the real, right?
Right. Well, so I remember part of that movie is that I think that they did a thing where they switched one of the paintings. They took one of these guys' paintings and switched it with the real thing, and nobody ever noticed. Because it was so good. Yeah. Which is, it gets into even crazier stuff in that movie. But, yeah, I don't know. I think sometimes copying or replicating is an art form in and of itself. You know? And I don't think that should be looked down upon. And I think that a lot of people do look down upon that. If you could replicate the Sistine Chapel or whatever. I mean, how that's a skill.
Yeah, it's a skill, yeah.
Sometimes there's inspiration, right? I'll hear a song and I'll say, I want to make a groove like that. Is that stealing? No. It's inspiration, right? But if I go around and say, I'm going to write a song called Sweet Child of Mine, that's fucked up. That's stealing.
Yeah.
Did anybody ever steal from you, Yuki?
Yeah, well, my credit got...
Your credit got stolen.
Yeah, this guy, he was my...
oh, right, you talked about this. He used your
guy.
work.
Yeah, he used my work.
So that's plagiarism in art direction.
Right. But then, the thing is, his mistake was he took the job, so now he's stuck, Right now he has to hire me.
Right.
So then, we made a deal, okay, let's just keep it this way between us. So you act like a production designer, then I do art director.
Yeah.
And just don't tell anybody, then, we get paid. His mistake was he didn't do that. He lied.
Yeah, he lied. Yeah.
So that was, but...
he was in over his head.
Yeah.
But then you came in and saved the day, but then he stole your credit, right?
Right.
Oh, what a son of a fuck.
But, he's not in the business anymore.
Yeah, there you go.
So, you comes around, goes around, and then,
Yeah. There's been times where it's really weird. This happened to me a few times in my life where something will happen to me and it's a good story or whatever. And then somebody will tell me the story as if it didn't happen to me and I didn't explain it to them. You know what I mean? Where I'll say, just for example, I told a story about going to a strip club one time.
Right.
And whatever, fast forward down the line, this person said the story, and this was in LA, and I said, I'm the one who told you that story. And they're like, what? No, that didn't happen. I said, no. That's my fucking story. You're stealing my life right now. And I got really upset with them because they actually stole my story and retold it to me as if it was their own.
Oh God, that's stupid.
It's not only is it stupid, it's delusional. It's an insane. It's when somebody is such a horrible liar that they lose track of their source material and then regurgitate the lie to the person that told them the original story. That's like sick. That's a sick person.
Yeah.
One time, I was at a bar and hanging out, and everybody was telling jokes, actual jokes, beginning, middle, end jokes.
Right.
And this kid goes, I wrote a story. I wrote a joke. I said, what's the joke? And he said, what makes a dead baby funny? And I said, a dead baby in a clown suit. This is an old joke. I mean, you hear this shit in 4th grade,
Okay.
3rd grade. He goes, how did you know that? I said, because I heard that shit in the 3rd or 4th grade. He's like, no, I wrote that joke. I said, you didn't write that fucking joke, you fucking liar. You heard somebody say that joke. But what? You know what? Maybe down the line, maybe he did write that joke. Maybe he was sitting there thinking about dead babies, and he said, what would make this dead baby funny? If it was in a clown suit. You never heard that joke?
No.
It's a horrible joke. I don't like jokes about dead babies. But this kid tried to claim that he wrote that joke. You think he was lying, or you think he was telling the truth?
It's very, I would say 50-50.
50-50.
Yeah, could be, he heard it somewhere, he doesn't remember, he thinks he did it, or he really made that up. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's happened to me a bunch of times in my life. So, for example, I was writing for many years a screenplay. I wrote the first draft of it in college, and I called it My Bear, and it was about a karate bear trainer who was in Hollywood. He would bring his bear to movie sets and get money because people would hire his bear to be in the movies. And then the bear gets stolen, kidnapped, and he goes ass-kicking across the country to save his bear. That was the story. And I wrote a few different versions of that story. I always wanted Jean-Claude Van Damme to be in this movie. I changed the title to Bare Knuckled. Get it? Bare Knuckled, like a bare knuckle brawl.
Yeah.
Bear, but B-E-A-R instead of B-A-R-E. Fucking, it's a pun. So, I did 2 or 3 drafts of this. Originally, I was thinking maybe Bill Murray was a sidekick when I was really young, but then I thought, the Bill Murray's not going to be interested in this.
Right.
And I just kept writing it and writing and writing it. Then all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, it took 20 years, Pig came out.
Oh.
What's Pig about? It's not the exact same story, but it's about
pig.
the guy, he has a prize pig, somebody kidnaps it, and then he
Right.
goes for revenge.
Right.
So, do you think somebody read my draft of Bare Knuckled, or do you think they just came up with this story on their own?
Came up a story, or maybe somebody read it. I mean,
Nah, nobody read it. Well, maybe they did, because that was my spec screenplay that I was most proud about when I was in LA trying to be a screenwriter, and I sent that script, Bare Knuckled, to hundreds of agents. And I got answers,
Right,
and I had
yeah.
meetings, but I never connected with any of them. So maybe that script was floating around.
Yeah, even the Goodwill Hunting.
What about Good Will Hunting?
Well, the
stolen?
No, but the Ben Affleck and then Matt Damon, when they were in school, that was a school project.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So
Well, that happened to me recently with another one. Actually, this one I don't want to talk about because
Right.
I rejiggered the idea,
Right.
and it could be something different. But it just happens over and over again where these similar ideas pop up to something that I've been working on. But it's good and bad. It's good because I know that I'm sniffing in the right direction, and it's bad because these people beat me to it. So what do you think the solution is, Yuki? How can I get out of... Because I think it's just, honestly, money. I don't have the money to make these fucking things. I don't have the money to make a Jean-Claude Van Damme bear.
Or at least you can register.
It was registered, but what am I going to do? They're a pig, I'm a bear. So I can't really... And I don't think that those people... Same thing with the Amityville in Space. I don't think that they really...
But it's same story. The only difference
is a
pig
bear or
and
a
the
pig.
bear.
Well, I don't know. I still haven't seen Pig because I didn't want to watch it because I felt like I wasted my whole life working on
So
this.
what? Your story is registered?
Yeah.
Well, so you protected you. Then if idea is the only difference is the animal, then you could sue them, no?
I don't know if I have the money for a lawsuit.
I know you have to have a money to do the lawsuit. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if you win, that's fine. But if you lose, you lose. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It's weird. Yeah, every once in a while I'll see a movie come out. I say, I was writing that. I actually was writing that.
Well, a friend of mine, when she was D-Girl in TNT, she did lots of, read the script and just
Coverage?
Yeah, and then, make suggestions and
Sure.
change the story. But she's had so many movies, she changed her idea, got made. But she didn't get the credit.
She's the unsung hero.
Yeah.
A lot of people say Peter Bogdanovich's woman, Polly Platt, was responsible for a lot of the creative decisions and she never got credit.
Oh,
Yeah,
see?
she still was
So-
credited as production designer and stuff like that, but they say that she helped Peter Bogdanovich a lot with screenplays and ideas and stuff, but never got the credit, which is a shame. That sounds like your friend who was the Polly Platt of
because
script coverage.
Galaxy Quest.
She fucking worked on that? That's a great script.
Well, originally it wasn't like that, but she changed that.
You're kidding.
But she didn't get the credit.
Half of the reason why that movie is a great movie is because of the concept and the script and the execution of that
That
script.
was all her change.
That was her idea? What was
Yeah.
it that the actors become in the real situation for Star Trek? Like, what was the original script versus what her suggestions were? Do you remember?
I don't remember, but she changed the whole, fake part was actually real.
Oh, shit. You're kidding.
Yeah.
Poor woman.
And then she the crystal skull. That was.
Oh, that's right. You told us she
Yeah.
came out with the MacGuffin
Right.
for the crystal skull of Indiana Jones.
Right, then she told the Coppola. Then that night, Coppola had the dinner with the Lucas, and there you go. But
What else did she come up with? The Smurfs?
no. But I mean, because she was working at the Zoetrope too.
Oh, Zoetrope, American
Yeah.
Zoetrope. Yeah.
So she was, reading, and then she did lots of marketing for the wine. Coppola has a wine company.
Yeah.
So those marketing things. She was researching, writing, those advertisements.
Sure.
Then somehow he asked her, like, well, can you find something interesting in South America? She found the crystal skull.
What do you think about... There was this book
Mm-hmm.
in the Oprah era of her book club or whatever.
Oh.
And there was a supposed memoir by a man, I forgot his name,
Mm-hmm.
and it was called A Million Little Pieces. You ever remember this?
No, I don't remember.
And it was a memoir, supposed to be a memoir of this person's struggle with addiction to drugs and things like that. And Oprah had him on the show,
Uh-huh.
promoted it as real. Turns out the guy
Right.
made up the whole thing. But it was still a bestseller. It still sold the shitload before people found out he was lying.
That was okay.
Do you think that's still art, though?
I mean, you lying, but still you wrote the book.
That's what I'm saying.
That's like a fiction.
Right. So
So-
it was fiction, but he paraded it around as real.
As non-fiction.
Yeah.
Well, then that part is lying, but still, if you see as a fiction, then he wrote a great book, no?
Right. It's to me simultaneously interesting and artful, but also horrible because of the lie.
Right.
What do you think about Milli Vanilli? Remember when Milli Vanilli lip sync?
Lip sync, yeah.
I feel bad for those guys because you know what happened? They were actually able to sing.
Right. Well,
The guys
see,
in the
that's if they did, that's a different story. But the lip syncing, that was totally fake.
It was. So the way that worked was they had the people come in, do the tracks, and then they got two attractive guys
Right.
who were the face of the thing. But it turned out that those guys were able to sing actually, so they could have just had them sing on the record anyway,
Right.
and it would have saved everybody a fucking shitload of trouble.
Once I did the concert, and then, we have a new technology in 21st century, right? But the company requested, we need a reel to reel. Like a reel to reel, like it's ancient, I can't even, don't
What
know
did they
how
want
to
it
get
for?
the
To
reel.
record music or something, or for
the
a
concert.
prop? Oh, the concert. Oh yeah.
So I found out the singer isn't singing. So the reason reel to reel is you can control the singing.
Oh.
But only difference is the tape is still his voice. He just didn't sing in live.
Live, right?
So that's a little different. Okay. This concert, he doesn't sing in the live, he just fake it.
Yeah.
But this tape, it's still his voice and his. So, the lying part is only okay. He's just faking it. But it's still, his voice. And then. So that's, yeah.
Ugh. Well, all right, we got slightly off topic, but
Right.
to think about, just to close up with the idea of simultaneous creation. So you think that if somebody in one part of the world has an idea,
Right.
say about a talking bear who
Right.
goes on an adventure, and then another part of the world has another idea of a talking bear that goes on an adventure,
Right.
what do you think about that? If somebody succeeds with their project,
Right.
should the other person sue? Or it's just they had the same idea at the same time and one person was lucky enough to get it made and the other person had the misfortune of not being fast enough.
That's possible too. But if, hey, I have the same idea, then he's rich, I'm not. Maybe I should get the part of I mean, right? I mean, it's very difficult to say because if he's not really stealing, it's just totally by accident, coincidence. I mean, that's life. There's nothing you can do.
There's nothing, and there's the collective unconscious, all the
Right.
billions of ideas swirling around, and inspiration can come. We can watch the same thing that inspires
or
us.
maybe the other person knows, more contact or
Right.
luck or, there's
Right.
so many elements is involved. So, then your project didn't make it. That doesn't mean the other person is bad.
No,
you
they didn't
know.
steal from you. I mean,
Right.
but on the other hand, the people who actually steal and things like that and lie, that's
Right.
horrible. Why would you want to dupe people? I guess just for the money, right?
I think so.
They're not in it for the art; they're in it for the money.
Right.
Let's
But
steal-
isn't that about the money? Is
yeah.
that,
Let's find some writers, Yuki, that we can exploit, and we'll steal their ideas, and then we'll get paid, and then they'll sue us. But it doesn't matter. We'll have so much money. We'll say, here, take 100,000, go away, kid, and then
Yeah.
we live a good life.
That
Stealing
would
the stealing sounds fun. You want to steal? Let's steal.
Yeah. Or sometimes like two riders,
Yeah,
but not always riding together, right?
sure.
And then, when they break up, there's always jealous or,
Yeah.
if only one guy is riding and then the other guy like, okay, shit, now,
Yeah, what am I gonna do?
do
Well,
it.
you know what's interesting in credits that I learned.
Uh-huh.
So you know how, say, you have 3 screenwriters,
Right,
and it says screenwriter 1
right.
with the ampersand. You know the ampersand sign? It's the and sign.
And, right.
Yeah, and screenwriter 2,
Right.
and then the word and
And, right.
screenwriter 3. You know what that represents?
No.
Screenwriter 1 and 2 with the ampersand means that they work together.
Oh.
And the word means that next screenwriter did a draft on their own.
Oh.
Isn't
but
that crazy?
They three of them get the credit.
But three of them get credit because of arbitration through the WGA and stuff.
What if the movie win the Academy?
They all three
all
win.
Three?
Yeah.
So two is the writer.
Because there could have been 10 other writers who contributed to the script,
right?
But not significantly enough that these writers did. There's all these rules of percentages and stuff like that. Isn't it crazy?
Oh my!
But I learned that when it says the word and, that means that person works separately from the other writers who have the ampersand sign. Yeah, the and sign. Isn't that nuts?
God,
yeah.
No, they want more money, and then striking it, right? I mean.
Oh yeah, the strike's going on now. Yeah. The WGA. Well, you know what? Look. Well, who knows? When we release this, maybe it's over. We got the SAG. At the time of this recording, we have SAG going, WGA.
Right.
The thing that is insane to me is that the studio people want to do the AI where they just scan a background person and then they own their likeness forever.
Yeah.
After a one-time fee. That is fucking evil. That is pure evil. To somebody to own your likeness forever and can do whatever they want with it forever.
And then not even the other movie, like once you own them, then you can repeatedly use the same thing.
Yeah.
And you don't have to pay. That's sick. And then that the new technology, it's good but bad. Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad. So I'm glad that they're striking and doing the thing and trying to fight for rights, because the whole streaming thing, they just all of a sudden said, "Oh, there's new rules." The studios, "Oh, there's new rules. Oh, you don't get paid as much as this for regular TV. You don't get paid as much as movies. No, the streaming's different, so we're going to pay you a lot less because it's a different sub." No, it's not different. It's the main thing now.
Uh-huh.
Movies are going off to the side.
Right.
TV's going off to the side. Everybody's main thing of entertainment is streaming. So the writers and the actors should be getting paid accordingly, not less.
Right.
It's the same thing as the idea that when the whole record industry fell apart, and now Spotify, even though I use it, you get paid pennies for fucking billions of listens. It's crazy.
Okay, but the thing is, like a DP, production designer, we don't get the residual, so
no, you don't get residuals. Why? Shouldn't you? Or did you? I mean, I think you should.
But we don't somehow.
I don't know how. I don't know the ins and outs of all that. Like why?
Like a DGA, like a assistant director, they get the residual.
Uh-huh. But is it because you guys don't have a union?
No, I think DP or production designer, we have a union, I think. But somehow there's no residual for us.
Well, you guys should strike in solidarity with the SAG and WGA and get your residuals.
Right, because if you see same actor, same thing, then they get paid. If you see same set, same camera work, we should get the residual too, right?
I agree, Yuki. Simultaneous residuals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, editor, I don't think they get the residual.
Oh. Yeah, everybody's fucking a villain in this world.
Yeah, but then money. Then in other hand, okay. I mean, the writers and the actors are going against the studio producers, but at the same time, no matter how great deals they get, our position don't change. We don't get the residual.
Right.
We don't get any money from this.
So that's why we got to start stealing. All right, Yuki, that was simultaneous creation. We went off on a bunch of tangents,
right? Okay.
But it doesn't matter because it's all about the conversation. It's all about the flow,
right?
It's all about us vomiting the ideas that we have in our craniums.
Right. So the thing is, it is possible.
Yeah.
Same idea.
Yeah.
Came from different place and different time.
but the way that you execute it is the key.
Right.
Right? So anybody out there who's an aspiring writer, don't get upset.
Right.
Just
Don't
keep
get upset.
writing.
Keep
Just
writing.
making new ideas.
And then make sure before you tell a story or idea, make sure you register,
Yeah.
the WGA.
Yeah.
So.
And then sue. Sue everybody. Sue the pants.
yeah.
I'm about to sue Yuki just for looking at me. This is crazy. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. This is a
Thank you so
podcast
much.
buffet. We got the Patreon buffet. We have the $28,000 tier. You
Yes.
can cancel us. Cancel us for $28,000. That's what we want. We've been asking for this for months, and nobody's doing it.
Is the number getting bigger or what?
Yeah, we're getting we have a great amount of patrons, and we have a great amount of listeners
But
for this.
still,
We're growing,
right?
Well, we're not. We're still growing, and we're far from our luau, but we're getting closer and closer to our luau.
When do we have a luau then?
We're 150 patrons, and at this rate, it'll be 17 years before we have the luau. No, I'm just joking. We're getting there. We're close to halfway there. So people step up the game and help Yuki and I. Come on.
Halfway, so it's like what, 2 more years? We'd be doing this like what, 2 years?
2-3 years. No, this we've only been doing for 6 months. It's October, and right now it's July.
So next year, so we can have
next year we'll have a luau.
Central Park luau
Central
next
Park
year.
luau.
Okay.
With that beautiful shirt. All right, everybody. See you next time on the buffet.
See you next time. Yes. Bye. Good night.
Yuki and John's Patreon buffet.